Hi, this is Brandon from Watches on You. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of my favorite watches. We're going to be looking at the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. Let's drop down to the table so we can take a look at this fantastic piece. Alright, so let's take a closer look at the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. And right off the bat, I just want to say we're here at JB Hudson Jewelers in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where this watch is available pre-owned, along with a wide selection of other watches. So, right off the bat, I just want to start off with the beautiful dial, which has what Audemars Piguet calls a grand tapisserie pattern, and it's sort of a wafer pattern that they use, or that they make using a pantograph machine, but it also has little tiny circles, concentric circles going around it, and it just makes very, very cool reflections in the light. I mean, this is just, it's just beautifully done. And if you see there's a lot of YouTube videos actually detailing how they make these dials and showing you the machines that they use to do so, and it's a very interesting process to watch. But the rest of the dial, it's absolutely beautiful. Now, one thing that I would prefer is if this did not have a date. I just think that maybe it'd add more symmetry to it, but I mean, still, you can just see it's just a beautiful, beautiful watch. That is not that big of a deal. That's a little nitpicky. This watch was designed by Harold Hente in 1972, as many of you probably know. Along with, he's designed many, many steel sports watches, which this was one of the first sort of very high-end steel sports watches, along with the Patek Philippe Nautilus, which he also designed, and the Vacheron Constantin Overseas. Also the IWC Ingenieur, which we have actually reviewed in the past. But moving on to sort of the rest of the case, this watch is in stainless steel. It's got a 41mm diameter. It's available in many other metals, and it looks great in all of them. I've seen it in a wide variety of metals, and I'm just super excited that we'd be able to review this watch. I was shocked, actually, that we would find one in Minnesota, as there's no Audemars Piguet retailer in Minnesota, or relatively, I mean, near Minnesota. I think the nearest is Chicago, but it just looks absolutely beautiful. So moving on to the movement, which is just an absolute masterpiece. It's got it's an automatic movement, obviously, with a 60-hour power reserve, which is great. It's above my 48-hour power reserve sort of criteria. And one interesting thing that I found out, it's actually got a 3 Hertz movement, which means that the second hand will beat 6 times per second, and that's actually slightly sort of lower frequency than most modern Swiss watches, which are around 8 beats per second, so 4 Hertz. But I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It looks perfectly smooth, and I'll forgive them based on the finishing on that on the back of that movement. It looks absolutely fantastic. And going over sort of the rest of the design of this watch, I mean, the integrated bracelet is absolutely spectacular. It just glistens in the light, as you guys can see right there. I mean, it's super, super shiny, and it's finished in a way that makes it so it actually doesn't show fingerprints that much. It has a brushing on the top, and then on the side it's got that mirror finish, which also is reflected on the bezel of the watch, as you probably noticed. And I just think it looks absolutely spectacular. So I'll move on to a wrist shot. Now, the deployant style clasp on this is super high quality. It's very, very thick on basically all the parts of it, and it feels really, really nice. And as you can see, they even embossed their name on one of the links in that deployant clasp. So now I will put it on the wrist. And one thing I want to note is that this watch actually has a 50-meter water resistance, which I thought was actually kind of strange, given that the crown is a screw-down crown. Usually those are above 200 meters, but it's not like you're going to be diving with this watch. I mean, APs actually tend to be kind of scratch magnets, so I think that'd be kind of a bad idea. But I mean, it is more of a dress watch, so that's probably not that big of a deal for you. But, I mean, as you can see, it looks just great on the wrist. Again, I'd say it wears maybe even smaller than a 40mm, but this is a 41mm again, and it just looks absolutely great. I mean, you could wear it with pretty much any outfit. It would look probably great with suit, and also you can get it in a leather strap version, which looks great also, and makes it maybe even a little bit more dressy. So if you like this review, please remember to subscribe and share. Thank you.